So a lot of what we saw over the past week, um, apparently that was just the tip of the iceberg. Because yesterday it came out that WB ended up blocking Brody King from being on AEW television on Wednesday night. This actually came out to be not true, at least for the most part, because WB Discovery came out yesterday and saying, "Hey fam, we had nothing to do with him not being on the AEW schedule for this week." Blah blah blah. Now I would have put it past them for them to say, "Hey, even though we have to put out this dumpster fire that he started last week, we have to be involved with that." Like, I don't see Warner Brothers not being involved in this in any kind of decision with AEW after last week. I just don't see it. They have to be involved with some kind of decision with this guy. And I've been kind of sitting on this for a couple days because I kind of knew this was going to happen. I really did, because there's no way you're going to have what happened last week and then we just go to AEW this week and nobody's going to mention it. Nobody's going to, he's not going to set off some kind of weird ass political trend in wrestling. Well, after WB came out yesterday saying, "Hey fam, we had nothing to do with it. He just wasn't on the schedule, blah 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 blah," which I still don't believe, but we have to go with what they give us, right? And plus, it was reported by Sean Ross Sapp, so I mean, take that with a grain of salt, however you will. But I've been sitting on this because didn't CM Punk put them in this exact same situation? Not exact same, I'm sorry, but didn't he put them in a similar situation just 3 years ago? After winning the AEW World Championship and then having a press conference and then going on during that whole media scrum and then just going off on everybody he didn't like, everybody he had a problem within the company. Which again, as a man, I don't have to go even down that rabbit hole again. We beat that to a dead horse 3 years ago. But as a man, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I kind of get it. I understand. I respect it. But as an employee, as somebody who signed a contract, and you're going off, and then somebody who represents a company now, not only because you're a legend, but because you're the AEW World Champion, and in that media scrum, you did not mention that title once. Not once. So whether you guys feel that CM Punk being thrown out of AEW was justified or not, that's one thing. But here we are 3 years later, and they're in the exact same situation because of King now, who should be called Queen. Brody Queen. Eventually, they're going to have to cross this bridge because he is a prominent guy. He just beat your AEW World Champion in 3 minutes last week, which I think is part of the reason why AEW is in the position that they're in, because they do stupid shit like that. But if you're going to keep Brody King off of television, I'm fine with that. But like I stated in my tweet that I put out yesterday, I'm not for censorship. So if WB is saying, "Hey man, this guy caused a ruckus, blah blah whatever," we kind of have to keep the heat down a little bit. I get it because you're a company, but on the same side, you have to say, well, are you technically censoring this guy? Netflix and their crowd chants and what they do, and I can't speak off the top of my head on this one whether I've heard them bleep out chants or not on Netflix on Monday Night Raw. I'm pretty sure they have in the past year. Not much, but I think they still bleep out the holy shit chants and stuff like that, which is still crazy because you're on Netflix. But AEW is definitely in a very sticky situation here, and they're gonna be in the state of Minnesota in 2 weeks or something like that, they said, or in a month. Like, it's getting out of hand. And now pro wrestling is in a position that I have not seen it in before, at least not in my lifetime. Because now you're getting a bunch of people, and again, I get it, it's online, blah, 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 but AEW has their fans have a very prominent footprint online, especially on Twitter. And the amount of, not just tweets, Instagram, all that stuff, the amount of things that I saw on social media yesterday in terms of Brody King and his support and them saying, "Oh, we all got to show up, we got to be louder, AEW, blah, 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 AEW's got to be louder, AEW's got to fight." You're in a very bad position, AEW. And it seems like damn near every video that I make about AEW, they're in a very bad position. A position that Tony Khan, and I'm pretty sure his father, who's really financing the company, would never want to be in, especially owning his own NFL company or NFL football team, organization, whatever you want to call it. So let's see some of these crazies that are well, Sean Sapp, he's a crazy too. But let's just take a look at some of these crazies, man. They're going to fuck around and turn this dude into a 2026 Steve Austin. Nothing makes fans want a dude more than a giant corporation telling you you can't have him and being terrified of him. I don't think anybody's terrified of Brody Queen. I think what the problem is that, and you know what would really be funny? Now that I think about it, if they just blocked out, because you know what they say, fuck, ice, whatever. If they just block out the fuck, and it's just, that's all you hear. And then somebody could put a beat on there, ice, baby, you know, something like that. I don't know. But it's people like this that I just get like the heebie-jeebies, man, whenever I see shit like this, because I'm like, you're not a real wrestling fan if you want this. And second of all, how would this relate to him being a 2026 Steve Austin? So you mean to tell me somebody being political inside the ring? And I'm not talking about like the comedic political, like JBL or all of them, what they did back in the. I'm talking about literally putting something out like this and wearing the shirts that he wears, putting out the merch that he puts out, putting out the messages and the stances and opinions that he puts out, which again, completely fine. You're fine to do that. It's a free country, but you aren't free of criticism. And for some reason, man, these AEW fans they're so unhinged. They're completely unhinged that they have no idea what wrestling even is at this point. Because that's not what made Steve Austin Steve Austin. Not even close. And before Steve Austin went against the corporation, he was still a popular wrestler. He still had his breakthrough. Like, that's what y'all don't understand. Anyways. Wrestling fans have the voice. And this Ace Humphrey, guys. I could have sworn I saw this dude. This dude blocked me like 2 years ago. How is he still... How am I still seeing his shit? Anyways. Wrestling fans have the voice to speak up and have free speech to tell Ice to fuck off. Never stop fighting like Brody King. Next tweet. AEW fans in attendance make the chants louder. And this is after Public Enemy's podcast put out that WB reportedly did block Brody King from appearing on AEW this week because of the whole debacle that happened last week. These people are so crazy and unhinged. It's like, you guys want the chance and all this other stuff to get louder. You guys care about everything under the sun except for the one reason everybody should be there in attendance. Is to watch some good-ass wrestling. Is to watch some character development. Meet the stars. No. You guys have turned wrestling into a political statement. And it is very sad to see. And I am so glad that at least WWE has not stooped to that level. At least yet. But AEW was so gung-ho in the message ever since day one. They have bent the knee. Ever since day one, they have been all about the message and not about actual wrestling. Which is why they're in the exact same position, if not worse, than they were in 2019. And like I said before, WB, a shout out to them. Kudos to them for standing on business if that's what they did. But them coming out and saying that, hey, we had nothing to do with it. I don't know if they're just delegating the blame. I don't know if they're being truthful. Nobody knows. But they came out and said they had nothing to do with it. So you can bring all those chants, you can bring all the virtue signaling, all that other stuff to the ring or to the show and call yourself a quote-unquote fan. But fam, there's still contracts in place. WB still has a contract. You think they're going to let that happen every fucking week? No. So this guy, he says, I knew this was going to happen, but I don't blame WB either. People were saying on Twitter, AEW is the free speech company. WWE would have censored those chants. Yes, and this is why. I'm the furthest thing from a Trump supporter, but it's never a good idea to put the perception out there that you're a political company. Hopefully it gets resolved and Brody doesn't get Trey Miguel or Jay Briscoe for this. Now, I agree with the first half. The second half, not so much, because, well, I wouldn't say not even the second half, just that last part where he says, hopefully Brody doesn't get Trey Miguel or Jay Briscoe. Hopefully he does. Hopefully he does, because you put them in this position. I could see if he was, I could 100% see, I would still make a video about it. I would still talk about it because he's a fucking shitbag. He's a piece of shit. But it's one thing if you said all this stuff in an interview, you know, he's being interviewed like, oh, this, that, you know, everything under the sun you could talk about, I 100% get it. I'd still have my criticisms. I'd still make a video about it, but I would get it. I would 100% understand it. But once you start bringing it to the ring and you put it on national television, and all the weird AEW fans are around you, and they start doing it, well, guess what? You put AEW in a position they don't want to be in. You put WWE. I mean, I said WWE. I keep getting WWE and WB mixed up. But you put WB in a position at this point now. HBO Max, which is where it airs on live, in a position at this point. Yeah. Hopefully he does get Trey Miguel or Jay Briscoe. Sorry, not sorry. But we do have, of all the crazies that we see on the internet, of all the crazies that we have seen on social media, you know, going, saying we need to go to the AEW shows and show our support, blah, blah, blah. We need to go to the AEW shows and do everything under the sun except for enjoy wrestling. Except for sit down and watch some wrestling. Get excited for that. Get excited for some moves. Get excited for character development. And this should tell you the number one reason as to why AEW will never really succeed. Is because they care about everything under the sun except for those key essential things that you need to make a company great, like WWE. I've got my gripes with Triple H right now, and I have for the past year, ever since Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble last year. I've been had my gripes with Triple H. But let me tell you something. WWE is still miles ahead of AEW, not just because they had the jump start, because AEW had a chance to take viewers away from WWE in 2019 and 2020, and they didn't do it. They couldn't do it. 2021, 2022, could have done it, didn't do it. They decided to continue to shoot themselves in the foot. Hopefully we'll get it better, but with shit like this happening, I don't see it getting better. Because they continue to shoot themselves in the foot. And they continue to hire wrestlers that will shoot themselves in the foot. Tegan Knox. Are we just forgetting about that one already? But here goes somebody that actually has some level-headed, at least a little bit of level-headedness when it comes to their opinion. And it says, if it happened every week, I honestly would have stopped watching. I watch wrestling to forget about reality. I don't need to be indoctrinated into someone else's reality. Facts. Because that's the thing that happens in this day and age anyways, is that people not only are going to try and, dupe you into their own reality, try and force you into believing what they want to believe, blah, 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 whatever. But it's just a simple fact that you have people now that will literally look you in the face and tell you to break a contract. As if this is the Wild Wild West again. Oh, yeah, I know you signed that contract or whatever, but, you know, you need to stand for what's right. Well, yeah, but I also just want to wrestle. And I also, you know, kind of want to make the business a little bit better than it has been over the past 10 years. Can we just do that? I mean, the fact that we have people in here trying to defend you breaking a contract, especially over something they have zero knowledge about and something that has been happening over the past 10 years, and they're just now acting like they care about. So we're talking about AEW contracts, breaking AEW contracts and breaking Warner Brothers contracts to fit your narrative? No. We're not going to do that. We have to save wrestling. This ain't how you save wrestling, man. This is how you kill it. This is how, and once again, this is me making another video telling you guys that AEW fans are going to be the downfall of AEW, if not the wrestlers themselves. This is the number one example right here. So this is a tweet that I put out yesterday. I said, wow, there's a lot I have to say about this. And this was before, FAP and all them came out and said that WB said that they didn't have anything to do with this. So this is before that, but this is the tweet I put out. I said, wow, there's a lot I have to say about this. In no way do I support censorship, whether I disagree with the censored person or not, which I obviously do disagree with the censored person. However, Warner Brothers does have the power to do this and just showed us that they strong-armed Tony Khan in the name of wrestling. So that is the second part of this that I wanted to just kind of gloss over a little bit, or I didn't want to gloss over, is that if you censor, and again, I don't want to use the word censor, but that's literally what it is. If you say, hey, we're taking this guy off because he's giving us too much negative attention, that's censoring. Are you making a good business decision? Yes, but you're still censoring. Believe it or not. In my opinion. But did they do that? And I know this might sound corny or whatever, but if I'm just thinking a little bit deeper, by doing that, are they saving professional wrestling? That's what I really want to leave y'all the question with. If WB, which came out and said that they didn't have anything to do with it, but let's just say they did. Let's just say they said, yo, fam, no Burger King this week. No, sir. Now, obviously they did it to save face because they don't want that kind of negative attention. But at the same time, are they saying, hey, man, this ain't what we paid for. This ain't what we gave y'all a contract for. This ain't what we technically saved y'all for because nobody else wanted y'all. Yo, AEW would have been on like AMC or something. So yeah, WB did save AEW with the contract. I could 100% see them saying, this ain't what we paid y'all for. This ain't what we signed the contract for. This ain't what we gave y'all an opportunity to be on our live television for. I don't know, man. Either way, whether they blocked Burger King or not from being on the show, it was a good decision not to have him on this week. Again, whether I agree with him or not, I don't think he should be censored. So I don't think he should be just completely taken off of the show until it died. Nothing like that. But you got to take him back and say, hey, fam, this is professional wrestling. This isn't CNN. This isn't Fox. This isn't ESPN. This is professional wrestling. Fucking act like it, Brody. Or else I'm going to change your name from King to Queen. I don't know, man. Hit that like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. It's your boy Corn, and I am OUT.